What's up, guys? I hope you're well. Today we're checking out the unexpected key players in the F1 2025 driver market. Let's get into it, shall we?
The 2025 Formula One driver market has the potential to be enormously volatile. It may sound a long way off, but behind the scenes there will be plenty of silly season machinations going on in the F1 paddock as drivers either seek a move or attempt to consolidate their positions for 2025. Right now, there's the possibility that every single team could change at least one driver. McLaren is perhaps the exception because it has Lando Norris under contract for 2025 and presumably has an option on Oscar Piastri's services. That means we may see one of those seasons when the grid is reshuffled dramatically. It's impossible to know exactly how it will all play out, but we can identify the drivers who will be significant players in shaping the 2025 driver market. And one of the key players might surprise you.
Verstappen, would his contract be up?
As with any silly season, there's some obvious big names who could be on the market. Lewis Hamilton's status even for 2024 is still not confirmed, although he is expected to stay with Mercedes. Both Ferrari drivers are out of contract for 2025, and there's uncertainty about Sergio Perez at Red Bull. But there's another driver lower down the grid who is perfectly placed both to be a key piece on the driver market chessboard and well positioned for a big move. And that's Alex Albon. He's under contract to Williams until the end of 2024. That means he's a free agent for 2025. Staying at Williams is perfectly possible, and it wouldn't be a bad place to be given the progress it is making.
Yeah,
but Albon will turn 29 in March 2025.
Creeping up for sure.
That doesn't exactly make him an old man in F1 terms, but it is firmly in middle age. He is aware that if he's to get another shot at the front, Williams will probably take too long to get there for him. Albon has been hugely impressive in his Williams stint, in particular this season. Last year he proved he had rebuilt himself as a more confident driver after his Red Bull struggles and established himself as team leader.
Nice.
This year he has built on that and been one of the stars of the season. Judged by the average of the race's post-race driver rankings over the season so far, he's 6th best. He's ticked a lot of boxes at Williams, on top of being a driver who has had a big reputation ever since his karting days. Albon has proved he's seriously fast, able to lead a team, confident in battle, assured in defence, and able to take a car that usually requires perfection to score points into the top 10. That makes him an appealing option for pretty much any F1 team. Albon is well aware he's in a promising position. While he's not in that elite rank of drivers, with Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc and Fernando Alonso, he's a driver top teams could be interested in, either as a number 2 to a superstar or possibly a next best option if they can't sign a proven ace.
Nice.
If, and it's a big if, Hamilton retires, Mercedes should be high on Albon's list of targets.
Is he even that old? Doesn't seem that old yet.
Work well as teammates. Ferrari is known to hold Albon in high regard and has him in mind among the potential replacements should it lose either Leclerc or Carlos Sainz. Aston Martin too could have a vacancy and would be wise to look at Albon. Even if he wouldn't be the first choice, particularly to replace Alonso or Leclerc given the proven stars will be favoured, he'd definitely make the shortlist and be in with a chance. Albon could also be a great choice as a leader for an ambitious midfielder, say Alpine or Sauber, ahead of its transformation into the Audi Works team in 2026. Alpine has been interested in Albon's services before, while Sauber CEO Andreas Seidel saw him as a good option in his days as McLaren team principal. This puts Albon in a promising position. He'll have to wait and see how several other key decisions play out, primarily with the big names at the front of the field who will be targeted by the big teams ahead of him before it becomes clear what the best options are. But he'll be a name on the shopping list for any team with a vacancy in 2025 and therefore has every chance of a big move. And that's a fantastic place to be for a driver who was on the F1 sidelines in 2021. It might look less obvious on paper, but one route that could open up for Albon is a return to being Max Verstappen's F1 teammate. The Red Bull racing discussion has been dominated by Daniel Ricciardo this and Sergio Perez that, because Ricciardo's mid-season return to the F1 grid has triggered a lot of talk about whether he could replace Perez when his contract ends after 2024, if not sooner. But there's a strong case for Red Bull needing to reconsider the driver it only dumped a couple of years ago, and Albon would entertain the idea. Red Bull demoted Albon to test and reserve driver in 2021 after a very difficult 2020 alongside Verstappen, but Albon has thrived at Williams since leaving Red Bull and rejoining the grid in 2022. Albon was thrown into the deep end at Red Bull Racing when he was promoted from Toro Rosso to replace the misfiring Pierre Gasly just halfway through Albon's rookie season. The first time he drove an F1 car was that year's pre-season test. Red Bull held Albon in high regard for his approach and believed in his ability, but having given him every chance to prove himself in 2020, reluctantly had to accept that it wasn't working.
Yeah.
That led to the decision to drop him, but there was always talk of a potential way back. Albon, who severed his ties with the company ahead of this season, isn't afraid of returning to Red Bull. He's more mature as a person and a driver than he was in 2020 and feels he would handle that situation very differently now. That's something Red Bull has taken notice of too, and senior figures there retain a good relationship with Albon, who was always very popular inside the team. Red Bull also suspects that if Perez needs replacing either in 2024 or 2025, and Ricciardo doesn't make a compelling case, none of its junior crop has proved itself to be of the required standard to handle Verstappen. But a revitalised Albon might be. That's the incentive for Red Bull. As for Albon, when we interviewed him just before the summer break, he made it very clear he's not scared of going back into a top team like Red Bull, or an environment where he'd slot in as the number 2 and need to prove himself. He says he backs himself and talks of his experience and improvement as a driver, meaning, I am not afraid of that at all. He would rather back himself to succeed there than settle for the comfort of being a big fish in a smaller pond. 2025 should be a far more lively driver market.
Nice.
We've explained why Albon will be one of the key players, but his opportunities will depend on decisions made by the big names. So let's have a look at how the driver market is shaping up. Based on the race's understanding, this is how drivers are set in terms of contract. Note that the dates we've included here are the point where their contracts are firm. Many have options that may or may not be picked up beyond that point, but this is the year up to which we can be absolutely certain a driver will be with a team. For example, there's understood to be an option for 2025 in Alonso and Gasly's deals, but crucially for Albon, if he wants to leave Williams at the end of 2024, he is entirely free to do so.
Nice.
So how will things play out from here? The first key question to be answered is that of if Hamilton signs a new Mercedes deal, which he is expected to, and if so, for how long?
2 years.
If he commits for 2 more years, unless Mercedes unexpectedly loses faith in
That was
Russell,
my guess.
that means Mercedes would stay unchanged. There's also the Red Bull question, with Perez's future a constant topic of rumour. Ferrari will be determined to get Charles Leclerc to sign a new contract given his qualities, while it would also be wise to get Carlos Sainz under lock and key. That's doubly important given Sainz is of interest to Audi. If either leaves Ferrari, that could create the opportunity for Albon, even if he would be behind the big names in the queue that he will hope won't be available.
Wow.
Lance Stroll's future appears secure given his father Lawrence owns the team and he's expected to stay on next year. However, there have been rumours from British broadcaster Sky Sports F1 that he could be considering walking away at the end of next year. As for Alonso, it seems inevitable he will stay on in 2025, provided he is still performing well. Based on current form and the fact McLaren should remain stable, those are the key decisions that will decide what opportunities will open up for Albon. But the fact is, whatever happens, there's sure to be at least some good opportunities for him, and possibly some great ones. In the meantime, he just has to hang back, see how things play out, and keep excelling for Williams.
Well, what do you guys think? What moves do you see? Because there's a lot of contracts ending at the end of next year in 2024. What moves do you guys see? Do you see maybe Daniel going back to Red Bull, or you see Fernando signing a 1 more year extension, maybe 2 years? Let me know down in the comments. With that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. Stay safe, and don't forget to wash your hands. Bye.